This is not a test. Don't expect to be impressed. Put on your life vest. Sit down your armrest. It's time to stray from the grind. Don't take my hand, 'cause you'll find no peace of mind. Side quest.
Well, hello, everyone. Or should I say, dearest gentle listeners. We have a trio of ladies here to talk about our favorite motherfuckers. I mean, fathers. It's Father's Day recently here in the United States of the USA, which is totally redundant, but I'm saying it anyway. Here we go. Let's introduce our lovely panelists to talk about everyone's favorite motherfuckers, starting at the end with the lovely red hair.
I guess that's me. Hi, y'all. I'm Misty Massey. I'm the author of the Mad Kestrel series of pirate fantasy adventures. And in past games, I have played slick, sexy thieves and totally innocent clerics on the Authors and Dragons podcast. So come listen.
Now the brunette.
Hey, everybody. It's Emily Kaplan. I write books under E.M. Kaplan, and particularly Arsenic and Alibis, which is new from Falstaff Books. So grab that. It has a beautiful cover of a woman's face sucking a lollipop.
Ooh.
So let's see. On the Authors and Dragons podcast, The Dicey Bastards, I'm playing Claudia, the rogue, who is possibly undead, but we'll see.
And of course, what would this Charlie's Angels be without the blonde? I am the one, the only, the R.E. Carr, author of urban fantasy, horror comedy, and even science fiction. When I am not writing the guy in real life, the girl saga, for our lovely Shingles fans, I am either the dungeon mistress of the Calamity Janes or the incredibly militant vegan druid Hilda Swington. All life is sacred, prepare to die. And on that note, I think we should just get into it. We're talking about dads. All three of us have them.
Bad dads, good dads, perhaps
sexy daddies.
Perhaps daddies or zaddies.
Ooh, that will bring up Jeff Goldblum, and anyone who follows me on social media knows I have an unhealthy obsession for that.
Oh, I thought
So
that
I
was
guess-
just a glitch.
It's actually to the point where if Jeff Goldblum doesn't appear in all my friends' feeds every 24 hours, I literally have people checking if I'm okay. Like, my mother-in-law was scared when the site was down that something had happened to me. So that's the story behind that. But I think we should start it off with a little bit of positivity. Who are the good dads of fiction? Like, who is your favorite dad? Not daddy. Trust me, we'll go there. But dad in fiction.
Or movies.
That would, I hope, be fiction. We're not talking about documentaries.
That's true. I've been thinking, really strangely to me, Steve Martin has become, well, he's grandpa age now, but a lot of the like Father of the Bride things that he remade, he transformed himself into this, from this like really smarmy, wild and crazy guy from Saturday Night Live into this solid banjo playing dad, dude.
He did always play the banjo, to be fair.
He's a very gifted musician, yeah.
Yeah. But I get if you watched Only Murders in the Building, I just get a really wholesome dad.
He has a paternal vibe in that too. Like, he is kind of the dad of the group.
Yes.
And Martin Short is the drunk uncle who you kind of want to ignore.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But he's so cute.
I did take his lecture on writing comedy, and it was one of the finest, couple hours of my life.
Wow.
So listening to him speak and educate and go through the whole process, like he did have a almost stern paternal vibe in that too. So I can dig it. Although I actually had a huge crush on him as a younger lass because I think there was something wrong with me because I had the hots for the dentist in Little Shop of Horrors.
I was gonna say maybe you have daddy issues, but maybe you
yeah,
have
no, anyone who's read my books, if you haven't figured out, I have daddy issues.
dentist issues.
Oh, dentist
Ew.
issues.
Yeah,
Actually, I love my dentist. She's very sweet.
yeah. But
Aw.
also, Steve Martin his hair turned very white at a very early age. I want to say he was like in his 30s when
Not
Yeah.
even 30. It was late 20s. Yeah,
20s. So
Mhm.
he became dad-like in appearance early. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
maybe that's the Little Shop of Horrors thing. He had black hair in there, and my little goth
Oh.
soul was
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
Yep, R.E. Carr like sadist. That's the clip that's going to be taken out of this episode.
Well, I was doing homework before we got started, and
You prepared Misty.
for like 20 minutes. Give me a break.
20 minutes. I was watching Smut. That was my preparation.
Well, it's me. But anyway, I was doing homework, and it occurs to me that I apparently like dads with vengeance desires because
Liam Neeson.
no, not that one. Although
Oh.
he does fit the category. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna be the one that brings in somebody from a book. And so I went back to some books that I loved back in the 80s, the Camber of Culdee books, the Durini books by Catherine Kurtz. I don't know if y'all have read them, but
I haven't.
really, really good fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
The Durini are people, are magically abled people, and they kind of run things in the world that they're in. And the main character of Camber of Culdee is Camber MacRory, who is a Durini lord. It's very English and Scottish, the society this takes place in. But Camber is peaceful guy. He's good to his tenants. He's all kinds of chill and nice to everybody until the crazy emperor kills off his oldest son, and then he goes on such a rampage that he ends up overthrowing the guy just because he's mad that he killed his son.
Whoa.
And I'm like, yeah, dude, this is what I want dad to do. So
Okay.
I'm just imagining something happening to Marcus in British accent going on a very distinguished rampage.
see, there you go. There's something about that. It's very much the same as the mother instinct that they talk about mothers in movies, that something happens to the baby and the mother bear comes out of the mother. Well, the dads have that same instinct too, and I like it when that happens in fiction because you don't see it as often. It's far more often the mother that gets to go on the rampage, and so I like it when the father can do that. And
I might suggest the Taken movies for you then.
yeah. I don't like what's her face, Emma or Ella, whatever the actor, the plays the daughter.
daughter?
I'm not crazy about her.
Who-
So
Yeah.
I'm
do you like
keep her.
Liam Neeson though?
Who doesn't like
I do
Liam
like
Neeson?
Liam Neeson. I love Liam
Yeah.
Neeson.
Yeah.
Especially
Liam
in
Neeson is
Krull.
awesome.
Just to laugh at him in Krull. So long ago,
He was in
baby
Krull?
Liam Neeson. Yeah. Along with Michael Eddington from Deep Space Nine for your real nerd deep cut.
All right,
I
adding
have
that to
not
the
watched Krull.
rewatching list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't. Robbie Coltrane is in it. Like everyone's in Krull, man.
Dang.
Everyone.
Isn't there an At the Movies coming up soon? Perhaps we should suggest this movie.
Oh my god, if we did Krull, it's just gonna be like a bunch of Deep Space Nine and Les Mis
Yeah.
singing from
I'm
me.
wondering if they already did it. I feel like they might have already watched.
I don't
Krull,
know. They
but-
haven't done Madam Web
I
yet.
thought it was
No.
tomorrow.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe.
Oh,
We
they
shall
did
see.
Krull already? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they haven't done
Oh.
Krull, we should do it for them. For nothing else, there are tights. Tights.
Ooh.
And
I like
sometimes a
tight.
woman's touch is needed. And an absolutely gorgeous redheaded woman. And if anything this week has taught me, I like redheads.
Look out, Misty.
I don't think she's into me, so it's okay.
But I love you.
I love you too. Unconditional platonic love. Normalize the
Yep.
bisexuals getting to love people platonically. That's our Pride Month message. Ping! But no, I think for me, the good dads, I grew up watching a lot of Disney, and Lord knows there were no moms.
It's true.
But
Most parents, yeah.
Beauty and the Beast was always my, like, everyone has their one Disney movie that they watched obsessively, right? Lord knows in my family it wasn't Pocahontas. The whole family thing.
Connection, yeah.
Yeah, but Beauty and the Beast for me was the time I saw myself in a Disney film. One, loved books. Two, redhead. Oh, that also was a beast. Well, we've already established, I like the dentist in Little Shop of Horrors and David Bowie in Labyrinth and Jennifer Connelly in Labyrinth, so we've had issues. But no, I just loved Maurice because yes, he was absent-minded and he was eccentric. My father, who was an anthropology professor and now does technical documentation, eccentric to say the least. But he just having an eccentric daughter who didn't want normal things, he was okay with. So for me, that was my paternal relationship until I'm waiting for the Beauty and the Beast sequel where Maurice runs off with a Russian and starts some horrible retelling of Anastasia. But that's my own trauma, and we're here to talk about good dads and bad dads. I also love the father in How to Train Your Dragon. I did, because we've talked a lot about like daughters and fathers, obviously, because we're daughters. But I kind of love the fact that even though he was different, he did still support his son, and that was cool.
Not in the beginning, though.
Not in the beginning, but
had growth.
Yeah, and growth, like arcs are important. Not every good dad starts as a great dad. And as a shameless plug, if you want to read about a daughter-daddy relationship, my False Icon series with the one and only Moog Face Eater, Rick Gualtieri, has a lot of daddy issues in book 1.
The most hilarious thing about Hiccup's dad in How to Train Your Dragon was how tiny his head was. He was this huge guy. He had like this little head. It was like a little metal Viking helmet on top of it.
I know, it was like the opposite of Heed from How So I Married an Axe Murderer. It's like you just were trained to think that the Scottish have huge heads because of that movie. Which I don't know if you have ever watched How to So I Married an Axe Murderer, but
yes, I love that one.
Yeah, Mike Myers, despite having the apartment that I always wanted, as long as in Desperately Seeking Susan, but the heed move now, it's like a giant melon. It just trains you to think that the Scots have big heads.
Yeah.
I mean, you got David Tennant. He's very skinny, but he has kind of a long head, which sounds bad out of context. And Doctor Who is not any representation for being a good dad because all he has is a granddaughter and has no kids yet because time travel. And he abandoned his granddaughter, so he will not be in the good dad category. I mean, are there any other good dad honorable mentions we want to shout out before we go to the fun stuff?
Well, I said that I apparently like dads with revenge problems because the other one that I dug up was Edgin Darvis from the Dungeons and Dragons movie, who spends the entire movie focused on nothing but getting his daughter back.
But he's also in the daddy category because Chris Pine, the nicest of Chris's.
Right. He is a cutie patootie. That's for sure. He is.
Yeah,
he
with
is
his found family and
yeah. So he is a good dad, and he does not go overthrow a kingdom. He just defeats a wizard,
but he kind of does overthrow a kingdom.
Overthrow the city, doesn't he? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
but he didn't intend to.
He overthrows a fiefdom, but not a kingdom.
Right.
It tracks.
But I'll go with him too. So, but I have this thing apparently for dads with revenge issues.
Yeah.
Wait till we get to the next two categories of dads.
It's just basic strength and authority and like having a protector.
Yeah.
So
I
are
can
you
see
a
that.
fan of Ned Stark in the dad category?
Aw, so heartbreaking.
I love Ned Stark.
Spoiler alert, it doesn't end well for him.
I remember when I was reading the first book, because he's in the first book, and I turned the page and he's dead, and I went, no, and I actually went back 2 pages and read again because I thought I've missed something. This is not right. And sure enough, he really was dead, and I was so mad at Martin for that. But
Yeah.
I mean, I can
And
see
then
the
they
point of
cast
it.
Sean Bean. It's like, spoiler alert, you know he's not gonna make it.
Right? Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of which, I will cast a nomination for a bad dad form.
So are we gonna go to the bad dads? Let's shift to the
Sure.
dark side. Bad dad.
Go,
Start
Well,
it off, Emmy.
Yeah, that made me think. Well, Gandalf, he is like the worst father figure, and you think he's going to be amazing. He comes in, he's taking care of the little hobbits, but then he's like the worst absent father figure ever. And then he throws them
He does
into
kind of
peril.
get Balrogged.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little more dramatic than going out for cigarettes.
Right? And then he comes back and he's like, "Who are you? Who am I?"
So you're saying that he's a bad dad because he literally fought a creature from the bowels of hell and then died and lost his memory makes him a bad dad.
Well, I mean,
Kind
he
of.
was a bad dad before that, though, because remember, he was supposed to meet them at the Prancing Pony, and he didn't show up. And when they finally do meet up in Rivendell, he says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Frodo. I was delayed." No, you weren't. You went into danger knowing full well you were walking into danger. So,
Yeah. And he had kids at home.
right?
Would you say that Aragorn was the better dad figure, or does he just go into the daddy category
Oh,
straight
he's
away?
a daddy.
He's a daddy.
Dad-
Right to the
daddy.
daddies.
But he was there for them. He was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's be
I-
real.
he
The
was
one who got the
hot.
most action was probably Samwise. I mean, he had a ton of
Fair.
kids at the end of that
Fair.
movie.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. And Rosie was smiling every time you saw her. Rosie was smiling, so somebody
You knew
made her
he
happy.
was dedicated, and he would never abandon you, and he'd never give up. These are the traits.
Right, ladies?
Yep.
I'm assuming since he's a hobbit, size doesn't matter. But
Well,
he
we
has,
don't know. He could be hung like a horse on Hobbit terms. Like
That's
he could
true.
have a human dick.
right?
Can you imagine that on a Hobbit?
And he has the perfect dad bod. He has like
Oh,
the
yeah.
broad shoulders, the nice
Mhm.
like tummy.
And he has such a weird, like the actor himself has such weird daddy issues that it does tie together because he grew up most of his life not knowing who his real father was.
Oh wow.
And then strangely not caring when he basically grew up with having 2 dads. He had Sean Astin, and I am
Okay.
blanking on the other person who banged Patty Duke, but
Wait, was Sean Astin
Gomez from the Addams family raised Sean Astin. John
Yeah.
Adams raised
Gotcha.
John Astin, yeah.
John Astin raised Sean Astin.
Okay.
Speaking of
And-
good daddies,
Yes, we have to
Gomez
go
Adams?
all the Adamses.
Yeah.
yeah.
But was he a good dad or is he just mostly a good husband? Daddy.
I mean, he
Gomez
never
Ad-
forced his children to be anything they didn't want to be.
That's true.
He was like
Yeah.
the Gen X ultimate dad. He was like, dude,
There you go.
just be home
Yeah.
before midnight so we can cast a spell together or whatever. Do your thing. Go.
Right.
Oh, just as long as no one ends up dead and we can't resurrect them, you're fine.
Right.
Right.
A little bit hands off, but still
Yeah.
loving.
But I think for us that grew up in that generation, like that's what our dream dad was. Just let us be who we want to be. Love your mama. Don't run around and have enough money that we can just do whatever we want. That's like the Gen X parental dream.
Yeah. All right. Who else has a
Can't argue with
candidate
that.
for
Dreams should turn to nightmares. Misty, who is your nominee for bad dad?
Well,
If-
if we're talking about dads that are like abusive or horrible, I'm not quite sure yet. I'm still thinking, but right now what popped into my head was a dad who never wanted to be a dad and fought being a dad the whole time, and only became a dad after he suddenly realized that he had fallen in love with this child he was responsible for, and that would be Joel from the Last of Us.
Last of Us.
Yeah,
Yes.
Joel.
He's a bad to good progression.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he starts
Oh,
out
and he
being
gets
a terrible
revenge
dad.
at the end,
Does. And he looks like Pedro Pascal, and so
which makes him a daddy.
Yes.
He's a threefer. We
Woo!
have the
I was gonna
threefer.
say, he's also amazing as in The Mandalorian, where he becomes like the dad.
Ultimate space dad.
Yes.
Yes.
He's going to be in Fantastic Four as a very flexible ultimate hero
Really?
dad.
I hadn't heard that.
Oh yeah. He's Mr. Fantastic. Let's everyone just stop and appreciate that for a moment.
Dang.
Hmm.
So I think he's an excellent fictional dad, but also a daddy or a
Yeah, and he's a bad dad to start. So
Yeah.
he's the progression to bad dad, good dad, daddy.
yeah.
Right.
All
To
right.
horrible
he has
Donald
my
Trump
vote.
impersonation in Wonder Woman 84.
Oh no.
Yeah, we just don't talk about that movie.
Oh no.
It's a wee bit rapey.
Oh God.
Yeah. When you say that in a Wonder Woman movie, you know you're in trouble.
I
Movie's a wee bit
swear I
rapey.
saw it, but I don't remember that.
I know.
Just
I
blank it.
blacked
Keep
it
it
out,
blank from your
apparently.
mind. Just yes.
Okay.
Keep the emptiness. Embrace the void. Imagine something better.
Oh.
Imagine a movie with Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, and Pedro Pascal, and Kristen Wiig, who are four incredibly sexy people to me, and somehow be the least sexy movie of all time.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's a wee bit rapey. And we don't play
Yeah.
that.
I'm not a
Okay,
fan of
Rachel.
Kristen Wiig, so.
Oh.
So, the bad dad. And mine, I will argue, is the best bad dad at all. Have you guys watched Arcane? The League of Legends animated series on Netflix.
No.
No.
Oh my god, you are missing the greatest bad dad ever. I mean, there's a lot of daddy issues in this show because everyone has daddy issues. It's a video game adaptation. And if you know anything about people into video games, we do it to escape the horrors of our own life. Or, we have ADHD. Or both. But in this movie, Silcor, who is the bad guy, the unimperfect bad guy, adopts Powder, a young girl who is abandoned by everyone when she accidentally kills all her friends. As
Like
you
you
do.
do.
It's a video game backstory. Well, there was a middle of a war zone and they were trying to escape, and she liked to play with explosives, and when you play with explosives enough, you kill all your friends and have a psychotic break. And instead of being a loving, supporting father who might get her professional help, he embraces the psychotic break and unconditionally loves this child. The most evil man, the evil crime lord in all of Arcane, completely unconditionally loves this girl and including her psychoses, and considers her perfect just the way she is, which shows that somehow even unconditional love can be warped into something twisted and gorgeous, and some of the most multi-layered characters and nuance about mental illness ever told in fiction, and it's a fucking video game adaptation.
Wow.
So Silcor is my ultimate bad dad nominee. Because it's not traditional. And in the end, the most evil character is still willing to sacrifice himself for his daughter. And yet be unredeemable.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, try unpacking that. And there's a lot of spoiler alerts I probably should have said for the entire season. But season 2 is coming out in November, and if you haven't seen Arcane, it is truly glorious. It is difficult. It will rip out your soul and make you question why the hell, after all this time, can we not have video game adaptations this good? And then finally, it took a pandemic, and we get Arcane, we get Last of Us, and we get fucking Fallout. So I guess it just takes a worldwide pandemic, Castlevania, the animated series, to give us good video game adaptations.
Yeah. I did watch Castlevania. My kids.
Yeah.
The
Second
adaptation.
plug, my narrator for Rules Undying is Sypha
Yes.
Benendez in Castlevania.
Yes, and in fact, I shrieked that very loudly at my kids, and they were properly impressed. So
Yes. The fun thing is that I was listening to Castlevania while proofing my audiobook, and it was very confusing for a second.
wow.
Yeah, so that's my fun. And then I was playing Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and I'm sitting there, and poor British accent is just like, what's going on? I said, that's her! That's Georgia! That's Georgia talking! It's her voice! She's using the Georgia voice! It's like, it's a card game player. No, it's her! I'm telling you. And I had to get onto Twitters and go into DMs and be like, this is you! She's like, you found me. I'm like,
Aw,
so yeah,
so cool.
it's a cute little Easter egg. Everyone else is welcome to sneak in their shameless self-plug. Speaking of which, if you like what you're hearing and want even more shameless promotion, you can like, subscribe, and join us on our Patreon at authorsanddragons.com/Patreon.
Yes, and we do really cool things like actually hang out with our supporters and chat with them on, play games or whatever, interact.
Sometimes do our own version of MST3K on the greatest and worst films of all time, which are not mutually exclusive.
Oh, I just thought of another good one. And I'll
A good dad. Why are we still going up? Okay, tell us a good dad, and
Okay,
then
I've
we
got a
do
bad one.
negativity.
So
Okay,
Emily,
good.
go good, and then I'll do the bad.
I'm
So
flipping back and forth, but I just thought about Luc Besson, Leon, the professional, with little Natalie Portman, and I just loved that relationship. A lot of people were squeaked out by it. They thought it had like sexual undertones, but mostly
It's a Luc Besson film. It's very
Yeah.
French.
yeah, and the way she was dressed, like a very adult version of a child. But I just loved that whole, hitman killer has a soft inner core, and it kind of like a found parent and becomes her father figure. And
it kind of ties to Star Wars because it's very similar to The Mandalorian.
Mhm.
And of course, Star Wars also had Natalie Portman, so it all ties together.
it's all connected.
Yeah.
Bring it down a peg. Who's your bad dad, Misty?
Bad dad. Well, actually, you made me think of it because you mentioned Fallout, and Kyle MacLachlan's character in the Fallout series. That is a bad dad. He's a terrible dad because he spends her whole life telling her something is real when none of it was real. And
Did you scream, it's him! It's Harry!
Oh yeah. I was, we kind of binged through the whole series, the first season, over the course of a few days because it was just so good.
And you could argue the Brotherhood of Steel is another horrible paternal figure for everyone that's in there.
Oh yeah, dreadful. I mean, it's pretty pitiful that the ghoul is the best father figure in the entire thing.
I stan Walton Goggins and love to know who told him, this is your scenery, get your dentures, chew it all, because he was clearly having a blast. And fun fact, they just released you could play a ghoul in Fallout 76, and I think everyone's a ghoul in the game right now, thanks to the TV series.
Yeah, I kind of love, there's a meme that's bouncing around Facebook these days that says every guy who thinks that women are all hung up on nothing but looks only needs to realize that a whole bunch of us are walking around reading and writing ghoul fan fiction right now.
It was out day one.
It's like, nope. All we need to do is hear Walton Goggins talk in that accent, and we are shot. We are on the floor. So,
everyone who knows it is not my preferred accent. It is quite nice, though. We know that I come from a long line of people who heard a British accent and spread their legs. That's why I exist. I am merely a slave to my genetic memory.
Speaking of, do you have another, Rachel, do you have another candidate for either good or bad?
For bad, my idea of the ultimate bad father figure is the Psy-Core in Babylon 5. The core is mother, the core is father, and it is the most abusive, relationship. I think it's institutional daddy issues. I mean, there's no shortage of rough father references in Babylon 5. I mean, you have, Sinclair didn't have a good relationship with his dad. Garibaldi obviously had a good bad relationship, but his dad was a drinker and married to the job. Delen's dad was basically just a totally hippie priest who walked off. Veer's family abandoned him and pushed him away. Londo's family's all dead. Jakar's family's all dead because of Londo's family. Like, there's a lot of daddy issues, but the Psi Corps, which is embodied by Bester, it's that ultimate authoritarian, I will mold you into who I want you to be type of father. There is no escape. There is no change. There is nothing. And it's kind of horrible. And then you have Bester as the embodiment, who has a sham marriage and a daughter that he barely sees because it was a genetic pairing. And he finally finds love. And the only I will give him one redeeming point. The reason why he helped Sheridan and the others, other than probably not wanting to see his people get annihilated by the Shadows, spoiler alert, was that they agreed to help his pregnant telepath lover, and he wanted to actually be a real father. So I will give that small redeeming core in the horrible father figure that is the Psi Corps of Babylon 5.
No, that's a good one, yeah, because they are terrifying.
But they did give, I would argue, Walter Koenig's best performance. Like, say what you will, I always thought Chekhov was a little one note. He's fun, but he's one note.
Oh, yeah.
To me, he's Bester in science fiction. I think it's just a much better role for him.
Yeah, because it's easy to be an over-the-top villain, but when you play it so that you're really scary, because the over-the-top villains in most of these things are like, yeah, okay, you're the bad guy. But he plays it as truly menacing. And
Also,
it gives you that shiver that you just can't get away from. And it was brilliant.
And the thing is, the best villains, you can see that they do not see themselves as a villain. They are absolutely convinced that they are right, and they have points that back it up, which I always thought was scary and kind of nuanced in Babylon 5. So if we go from Babylon 5, we can have a brief Dads of Star Trek edition. Good, bad, and oh my fucking god, Trip is pregnant. So, do you guys watch your Star Treks?
Some of them.
Yeah, I'm an old school Star Trek, so.
Well, so you can discuss Captain Kirk.
Obviously, he was the biggest space floozy of all, so he was probably like the love him.
Who knows how many times he's been a dad?
Right?
Well, we know at least once, and it didn't go well.
Yeah.
How about you, Misty? Who's your good or bad Star Trek dad?
Well, my least favorite dad is the dad in the Next Generation episode from I think it's the first season, when the mysterious shielded planet stole the children, and they had to, and Picard had to go negotiate to get the children back, and the one kid, Harry, did not want to take calculus, and he was very clear, I do not want to take calculus. I want to be a sculptor or an artist or a trash man, any damn thing, but I don't want to take calculus. And at the end, they've gotten all the kids back, and Harry and his dad are walking through the corridors, and he says, Harry, you can be anything you want to be, but you still have to take calculus. And Harry goes, okay, Dad. And Misty's going, fuck no. I am not taking calculus. So he's my least favorite dad.
How many of the people in this podcast did have to take calculus?
Yes.
Nope.
Oh, see, Misty escaped it.
Yeah.
We're still scarred by integration.
Right? Algebra
differential
2,
formulas,
geometry, and then trig. And trig damn near killed me. So calculus I would be in the ground right now if I'd had to take calculus.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I made it to college, and I was taking college level calculus because I thought, oh, maybe I'll be pre-med. I'll go, I'll explore.
Well, you are part Asian, so it's
Right.
kind of required, isn't it?
Yeah, right. And then I got to college calculus, and my TA, my teacher for my section, was this Italian guy, who looked very much like Pedro Pascal. And
I would suddenly be very interested in calculus.
I was suddenly very not able to pay attention.
Oh God.
And I almost like bomb that class. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to liberal arts.
Well, we're glad you did because we love your books.
Aw.
So
Yeah,
that's the secret. If you
how
want
I
to forge
ended
a
up-
great author, give him a sexy TA.
Yeah.
That's how I
Yeah.
ended up with a minor in philosophy from college, not because I intended to minor in it, but because I had such a huge crush on the philosophy teacher that I took every class he offered every semester until all of a sudden I had a minor and I didn't know how.
I wouldn't exist if it wasn't for someone being hot for teacher, so I completely understand. Yep. My mom went to college and came out with a husband instead of a degree.
Oh boy.
So, that's how I exist. Told you Dad was an anthropology professor. Then he slept with one of his students and went into the private sector. But he got me out of it.
Yay!
That's your Father's Day story for the day, children. Going back to Star Trek, I will nominate my good dad being Commander to Captain Sisko in Deep Space Nine. He managed to save the universe and was still a good dad and only disappeared when he had to go into a timeless portal and save the universe with the prophets, which I think is okay for being absent for a while. Hopefully he will come back. And my bad dad is runaway French floozy Jean-Luc Picard. Spoiler alert, if you haven't, knocking up Dr. Crusher and then just not having any. Not willing to change his career, even though he had the world's sexiest Borg son. Spoiler alert.
Is that from Picard?
That's from Picard.
Okay.
The third season. The one that is tolerable. It's a member-berry mess, but at least it's coherent.
Gotcha. Okay.
We don't talk about season 2. Season 1 was at least interesting, but wasted a lot of potential. That's my quickie review of Picard. So yeah, we have gone from dads.
Yeah.
We've had good.
I have one more nominee for the very worst dad of fiction.
Ooh.
Well, mostly fiction of all time. And I think Misty's definitely my generation, or she will understand. And I'm not sure if you watched the same sitcoms that I did, Rachel, but we'll see. Cliff Huxtable.
Oh.
Ooh.
Cosby Show.
We all have our Cosby moments.
He was so wonderful. Everybody was like, the sweaters, the Jello pudding pops. He was always there for his kids.
Jello pudding pops have a whole new connotation in hindsight, don't they?
That bastard ruined his entire legacy. He ruined lives. And I mean, like, I can't even think about that show without cringing,
I mean, I'm kind of happy Michael Gross from Family Ties at least turned out to stay a non-garbage human, so we could have him.
Right? Yeah, some of the Full House guys are very shady. That we don't even.
We have some uppy downies there too. But we do have Michael Gross from Family Ties so far. As the time of this recording has not been scandaled.
Emily, I used to listen when I was little. I used to listen to my parents' records of Cosby's shows, and like the one with Noah and the one with the chicken heart and all that. And I mean, there are still times that I will like sing the ice cream. We're gonna have ice cream song to myself which is from the kid getting his tonsils out on one of the albums. And so it kills me because it's like, that was my childhood. That's how I learned what funny was.
Yeah.
And for those who didn't follow the news, Bill Cosby did some very nasty things, and whenever something gets more than a wee bit rapey, it ruins it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I sang
it ruins everything they've done.
Great. He gives a chocolate cake, like for my whole childhood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's some pretty crushing stuff when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because I know we in the one serious thing we always talk about is where does the art end and the artist begin? But the problem with Cosby is so much of it was his own identity. It was just a heightened persona of himself. There's not that thick layer of fiction that you can really separate.
So
That
true.
it does. I mean, it taints everything. You'll notice you'll see Night Court reruns, you'll see Golden Girls reruns, you'll see all of these reruns. But when's the last time you saw a Cosby Show rerun?
Yeah,
You
no,
won't.
those are banished.
You will not. Yeah. And he did it to himself.
He did it to others, and that's what fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he bought into the hype and did not realize that he was hurting other people and damaging his own legacy by doing that. He just decided to be, I'm so great. I'm not responsible for anything. And you can't do that. So
Nope.
But they do.
We've been serious for 2 whole minutes. That we must change
Yeah,
the subject.
None of that.
So we've had the good.
Make
We've had
it
the bad.
stop.
It's time for these Charlie's Angels to bring up the daddies.
The daddies.
Ooh.
Dun dun dun. So we'll start with you, Misty. Who is your number one daddy, or if you want, zaddy?
That would be Geralt of Rivia.
Ooh, nice.
Is he actually a dad, though?
Yeah.
Well, I guess in the show, yeah, because he does raise. He definitely. Hold on, I'm sorry. My whole brain short circuited because suddenly I'm thinking of Geralt of Rivia in the bath.
Oh my.
Reboot required.
How much of your appreciation is for Henry Cavill, and how much is for the character, Geralt?
It is. Honestly, it's got to be mostly Geralt, because Henry Cavill, though, while I am sure he is a very functionally attractive, lovely man, he does nothing for me. As soon as he gets dirty and is in that wig and is grunting and has oh my god, it's a fucking deluge down there, okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
It's Henry Cavill as Geralt.
Yes.
So
It is,
because I've watched Henry.
I saw what, Liam Hemsworth? Me.
Yeah. Or even
Yeah,
Henry
he's
Cavill
not
as
doing it.
Superman.
Oh,
Not attractive.
that's a whole.
Nope.
That's a whole other section. That's a different podcast. We could go into Man of Steel for at least 2 or 3 hours, and I would probably have to be held down and stop foaming at the mouth at some point, because I am one of those people that it is the movie I have picked apart probably more than any other for various reasons. In fact, in my house, it is called a Man of Steel moment. If I start watching a show and I thought I enjoyed it, and then suddenly one thing and I start talking about it, and then it goes to another thing, and it's like, that's the Man of Steel moment. I just start pulling the thread and the whole fabric goes.
Yeah, so true.
I do that with Independence Day, but
The only thing at Independence Day is I genuinely love the Bill Pullman speech. I mean, talk about a daddy. Now, that's a daddy.
Movie. I mean, the movie is great, but you can't ask it to be anything but what it is.
What's
Right.
the most? Well, actually, I think the thing that makes most sense is Mac won't interface with just about anything except alien technology.
except Rachel Carr.
Oh my god! For those of you who need a Authors and Dragons flashback, at one point, a certain neurodivergent author could not figure out the power button on her Mac and proceeded to melt down in front of people for 20 very long minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
There are many things we could say in your defense. Like, for one, you're left-handed, right?
Yes, and it's on the right
And
side.
it's on the right. So, and it's not labeled. So anyway.
No. And it was new. And it was the only thing that would bypass the firewall so that I could actually take part in the Jackbox games. But yeah, I think that was kind of the warning sign that maybe I had some sort of neurological divergence, and it helped me lead to get a diagnosis. So positive for meltdown.
But anyway, Geralt of Rivia.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for helping. I had to reboot my brain for a second. Okay, bath scene, ladies. The bath scene.
Yeah.
But tell us more, Misty, please. Just tell us more about Geralt of Rivia.
he's all glistening and naked and wet. And actually, the also the scene that I love is when they're in the episode when they're hunting for the dragon, and Yennefer makes the big fancy glampy tent. She goes zoop with her magic and makes the big glampy tent, and
I want that
so
power.
they stay in there, and he wakes up the next morning and she's gone, and he's laying all in the furs and not dressed, and I'm like, oh my. Let me come and help you stay warm, Geralt of Rivia.
just look in my general direction. I will melt. It's okay.
Yep. So
Hmm.
but as a father, he's not the greatest father in the world because
But he is not in the good dad category. He's
No,
in the
no.
daddy.
But he does try, and he does care about Ciri. And when they finally find each other at the end of the first season, that is really pretty awesome. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go with he's my daddy.
Bath. Yeah.
Bath.
Emily.
Bath.
Sorry, we're still having a moment here.
I think there's steam rising from the bath too, and I'm not sure whether that's magic or hot water or just Geralt of Rivia.
The hotness. He's powering the hot bath. Yeah.
Exactly,
The man who does not need to heat his water, his mere presence makes it boiling.
Like all those old Chuck Norris jokes that, Chuck Norris tells the sun when to come up. Geralt heats the water just by stepping into it.
Okay, so there are several fictional daddies that I think everybody likes, and they're like Han Solo, the rogue, super handsome.
Love the rogue.
Yeah, and I just lost.
That brought me back to Doctor Who in the Rogue episode. Whew.
Yeah. But my weird choice is gonna be Hagrid.
Hagrid is your daddy. Hold on. Let's
Harry
just pause
Potter.
with this one. Wait, no.
Yeah.
You saying you like him big and hairy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's not obviously conventionally attractive, but his personality is just so, fierce when he has to be fierce, interested in animals and like caretaking. He's huge and he's powerful and he can kick butt.
He's huge. Let's linger on that one.
He looks after Harry Potter. I mean,
are you saying you're a mountain climber, Emily?
I could be.
She's willing to attempt it if he'll stand still long enough.
But I think he's a sweetheart, and I think he has a good character, and I guess that's my draw.
Okay.
You're like,
fair.
You're weird.
What do you mean? There's nothing weird about that. I mean, I confessed to my crush on the dentist from Little Shop of Horrors.
Okay.
We're not judging here. This is a zero judge podcast. Judge in the comments, and please leave them below. We would love to hear them. But oh my.
Yeah, and I confessed my crush on Walton Goggins Ghoul, and he doesn't even have a nose. So
he doesn't need a nose. He only needs something else.
I didn't say Voldemort.
Actually, Ray Fiennes. I mean,
Ray Fiennes is fine.
Ray Fiennes in Strange Days is my my love language.
Good one.
Lynn. That's a good one. Hold on.
I need to watch that again.
Or, yes, for anyone who doesn't know, Angela Bassett.
Go ahead, Misty. What were you going to say?
She has the best arms.
Yes.
And
she has Linda Hamilton arms.
I don't fixate on one body part mostly, but I do really admire extraordinarily sculpted arms on men or women, and Angela Bassett has amazing arms.
And when she wears that dress in Strange Days at the New Year's Eve party, I'm just like,
and she has maintained her arms through all these decades.
Oh my god, yeah. Stella can get my groove back. That is for
Yeah.
sure. So yes, my entire sexual awakening is either the movie Labyrinth or the movie Strange Days. I do have a definite type. Or the Mummy. The Mummy.
God.
That was actually my, because we all know Jeff Goldblum has a very special. That's Zaddy. That's its own category.
Right.
But mine was actually Rick O'Connell from the Mummy series. The original Brendan Fraser is my daddy. And then to counterpoint, Oded Fair, who is also in the Mummy series, is Dadmiral Vance in Star Trek Discovery. And I don't care about the rest of the show. I will watch that silver fox in a very well-fitting uniform at the end of time and drool. So
Yeah.
I nominate the cast of the Mummy as my daddy. The whole cast.
If you think
All
about
of
it, like the muscly forearms, I
I even had the hots for Benny, okay? I would take the entire cast. Give me the Mummy. Give me the fucking brother. Give me the sister. Give me both the brother and the sister together. Give me Rick and the brother and the sister and the Mummy, and especially Ardith Bay. And then Benny can watch and film. Okay? That's my daddy. And you thought you were bad with Hagrid.
Seriously. Talk about mountain climbing.
That's not a mountain climbing, that's a dog pile. Let's get it right, ladies.
Okay.
And we'll throw in Angela Bassett and Ray Fiennes from Strange Days as a chaser.
Okay.
I think I've just watched too much Bridget. Oh, I can't say anything because Emily hasn't seen it yet, but let's just say.
I mean, hush.
Season 1 has a good daddy, Reggae John Page.
Yes.
He becomes a father at the end of that series, and he can always be my daddy.
Yes.
So the three of us are all on TikTok, correct? I mean, off and on. Misty
Off and
probably
on,
the most. But the whole phenomenon of book talk and the thirst traps on there is just mind-blowing to me. Like, book talk, you'd think it'd be
I'm pretty sure, though, our very own Joseph Brassey has been a thirst trap on TikTok.
Yeah, with the hair and the
with
and
the
muscles.
Flip.
Yep. And the woke politics there as they yell at him.
Okay. We will not drool over our castmate.
Over our friend.
But just a little. Just for this one podcast. We'll give a tiny, tiny drool. It's not like we're all I think the very first Authors and Dragons Con we did have for the A&D cast, the characters, not the authors, as they are all our friends and we respect them, but we did have a kill, marry, fuck vote for the OG cast of Authors and Dragons, and everyone was going to marry Bjorg. Everyone. And everyone wanted to kill Silas.
Yes. Positive masculinity. What's not to love? So
exactly.
The fuck was a very weird mix of Brandon Thighmaster,
Klaus even.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. Fandango had a lot, and the one vote for Klaus. Can you guess who did it?
Is your face turning red, Rachel?
It wasn't me.
Remember who on this podcast admitted to having the hots for the dentist from Little Shop of Horrors?
Yeah.
And the entire cast of The Mummy together. So, who do you think?
But the mummy defined sexuality for an entire generation of Americans. So
that and Labyrinth. I would argue Labyrinth.
Yes.
Went there first. David Bowie awakened things in, I think, 90% of the planet. There's all sorts of sexuality as a spectrum. We respect, we love it all, but I think Bowie is just its own category.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of the kind of androgynous sexuality, or fluid. I don't know. What do you think about Prince? Do you think he was like sexy or talented, or I don't know. My sister really was attracted to him, and I was like,
I think when he's performing, he is singularly attractive. I didn't find him attractive when he wasn't performing. There are some people that's like Iggy Pop is incredibly sexy when he is singing. Mm-hmm. He is not incredibly sexy if you just look at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga is
Prince
incredibly
was
sexy when she's performing.
Prince hit when I was in high school, and so it was very popular to go, oh my God, Prince, I love Prince, I'm going to marry Prince. And there was a look in his eyes that I would see it, and it was off-putting, not because it was not sexy, because it was, but there was just a look in his eyes that made me uncomfortable. And so I never really found him physically attractive because of that look in his eyes. But I then and even now recognize his extraordinary genius and talent with music and with songwriting and with everything he did. He was one of those singularly talented people that we lost way too soon. But I never found him. He was never somebody that I put a poster up, So
Yeah. Same.
I admit, like most girls in America, I had a John Bon Jovi poster.
Ooh,
my sister still has the full-length Bon Jovi poster she had on her door when she was a kid. She still has that darn thing.
Yeah, I know the poster you're talking about. I had that one, and then I replaced it with Gambit from the X-Men, who is my favorite cartoon cat daddy.
I had a huge 6-foot poster of the Frankenstein monster.
He's also very tall.
That's true. I have a type, apparently.
Emily likes them big and tall.
Possibly monsters, but that's okay.
And possibly monsters, yes. We're learning so much about the Calamity Janes in this particular podcast.
Yeah,
we're talking about our favorite motherfuckers. What do you expect?
I had an Indiana Jones poster on the back of my wall in college, in the dorms in college, and it was Temple of Doom, a movie in which Indy acted as a father. So, hey.
True.
I would argue that Harrison Ford is one of the OG daddies. I mean, and the weird part is I would take either him or Kylo Ren. So, hey, the family's sexy.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I guess we can wrap up pretty soon. Do you have final words? I just want to wish all the dads out there happy Father's Day, including Nick Cannon and the male members of our, Authors and Dragons podcast who have kids or furry kids or who act as moms.
Yes.
Even.
We do love all motherfuckers out there. And we want to say thank you for listening to our podcast. Thank you for indulging us. We do have our occasional serious moments. We wouldn't be here without you guys, and we love and appreciate you. And we don't always get this filthy, but let's be real, we usually do. Yeah.
Hey,
we do.
They let us come on by ourselves. What did they think was going to happen?
We were left unsupervised. How about you, Misty? Do you have any final words about Father's Day?
Happy Father's Day, Daddy. I love you. Please don't listen to this.
Yes, happy Father's Day to my father.
Yeah. I miss mine, but he was honestly the best dad I have ever encountered. I haven't met one who even came close to him.
And I want to say a very happy Father's Day to the greatest envy a girl could ever know. My one, my only, my British accent. I know you won't listen to this, so I can say nice things about you. So, happy Father's Day. Okay. So we've said that. Let's round it up with one last pimping. Who's here on the panel? Where can we find you? And know that everyone can find all of us at authorsanddragons.com. You can enjoy the Patreon. We have a Discord. We have even more filth that you can achieve anytime you want. But let's see, where can you find Misty?
MistyMassey.com. You can find me as Misty Massey on Facebook and the site formerly known as Twitter and TikTok and Blue Sky. So come on, look at me, read my social media, and engage with my TikToks because I like making them and nobody looks.
How about you, mountain climber?
You can find me at justthemwords.com or on the Dicey Bastards.
All right, and I am the one, the only, the RE Carr. You can find me at racheleccarr.com because Rachel Carr writes vegan cookbooks, and you probably don't want to confuse us. If you want to find me on social media, in all places, I am at Total Recar. And I just want to say you can find me as well at authorsanddragons.com. We love you all. Here's to all the motherfuckers one more time. Happy Father's
Father's
Day.
Day.
Ah.
Authors and Dragons is brought to you under a Creative Commons license, meaning you are free to share this material so long as credit is given to those who created it, which is us, the people you just heard play the game. Opening and closing themes performed by the Gore Core 4.
Authors and dragons.